Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's session of Ask the Coaches with me, Jyotsna Ramachandran from Happy Self Publishing. And we are also having Sunena, who will be joining us in just a minute. She is our author success coach from Happy Self Publishing. And today we are going to be talking about how to publish a collaboration multi author book using your tribe. So if you are somebody who already has a tribe, by tribe, what we mean is you have an online course and there are students in your community, or you have a membership community, or you have a podcast, you have some platform where people are following you and they're learning from you, then this episode of Ask the Coaches is for you. So let me quickly bring on Sunena on Instagram as well. Just a second, Sunena. Yeah,
Sure.
there you go. So we'll be talking about how does one come up with this collaboration book idea and how do they execute it and make the best use of this collaboration book. Hi Sunena.
Hello. Hi, Josna. How are you?
Good, good. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. So, we're going to be talking about this all important topic.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think to begin the conversation, it's really important to understand what is a collaboration book or
Mm-hmm.
an anthology, what is commonly known
Mm.
also as an anthology. So, an
Yeah.
anthology or a collaboration book is a multi author book. Now, what do we
Mm.
mean by a multi author book? That's the first and foremost thing that we need to understand before we start discussing all the other points and its advantages. So, a multi author book is where you have different people contributing to the book. So say
Mm.
you've got your book has 15 chapters, and there are 15 authors who are going to contribute one chapter each to the book. Now
Right.
obviously there has to be an overarching theme that connects all these chapters together. So that is what ties in all these chapters and brings it in a kind of harmonious manner, but it's essentially written by different people. So that's why we call it a
Yeah.
multi-author book.
Right. I have seen this happening a lot, even in the online space, right? When it comes to movies and all that, you have different directors directing short films and they put it together as an anthology or a web series. And the same,
Exactly.
the equivalent of that, I would say, is a multi author collaboration book, where, as you rightly said, each author contributes one chapter and they have a common theme, which makes the book really interesting because you get different people's perspectives on the same topic. And I feel there are slight differences in the types of collaboration book. Not every collaboration book is the same. So I would like to categorize them into three types based on how these collaboration books are formed. The first type is when the author interviews many people. So I have done this in my first book as well. I interviewed seven people in my book, and I have been a part of several other books where people have interviewed me and several others, and they have added our ideas and thoughts into the book. Either they've integrated in the narrative of the book, or they've added the interview separately at the end of the book or between two chapters. So this first method is where the author reaches out to different people, different thought leaders, and interviews them. So here, the thought leader is not very invested in the book. They are just happy to be interviewed, and that is the only involvement they have with the book. But the author, it's more like a solo author book, but with different ideas coming in from different people. Right. The second type of collaboration book is what we are currently doing right now at Happy Self Publishing. This is where the publisher, like Happy Self Publishing, recruits authors. We ask authors to apply to be a part of the collaboration book. So several authors apply for this. We understand what their stories are. We see if they are a good fit for the project, and then we make them a part of the project. So we are right now doing a book called One Decision Away, where several people have come together to share their stories. So this is a typical multi-author book where every person who's contributing to the book can call themselves to be a co-author in the book. Right. And the third type of book, which is relevant to what we're going to be talking today, is where the author, who is like a leader of a tribe, invites the tribe members to contribute to the book. So here, the initiative is not from the publisher or the publishing house. The initiative comes from the author, and they reach out to their community. And the community members contribute a chapter each, and then the author collects all these stories and then goes to a publisher or a publishing service agency like us to get the book published. So that's how you can look at three different ways to create a collaboration book.
Right. And like the main thing, of course, what will go through anyone's mind is what is what is the advantage of this? Like
Right.
what makes it so special or makes it so different? And there are lots of advantages. One is that it brings the community together.
Hmm.
It's a great way to showcase success stories, case studies, and for a lot of people it's less tedious to contribute one chapter versus writing a whole book, because people
Yeah.
could get intimidated, especially people who haven't written a book before
Hmm.
but would like to write a book. This is a great way to make an inroad into writing and getting that experience, getting that exposure.
Yeah.
And of course, if at the end of the day everybody wants to be a best-selling author, and if you contribute to a a collaboration book like this, it is easier to hit the best-selling charts and then get that position of being a successful author. It's a
Hmm.
great marketing tool for you going forward for the book that you are going to be writing. If you've written previous books earlier, then obviously it's a great way to put that stamp that, hey, I'm a best-selling author. You can go back and
Yeah.
redesign your cover and put that stamp of a best-selling author. And again, it's a great marketing tool for the community. You
Yeah.
can, I mean, there's no end to this. I mean, you can speak about it. You can use this stamp of a best-selling thing. You're an established author. It doesn't matter
Hmm.
whether you're contributing a chapter to a book or whether you've written a whole book. You're still a published author. So it gives you
Hmm.
that credibility in your community as well.
Yeah, especially let's say I have an online course, right? And I have several students who have taken up the course, and many of them have got fantastic results. So, the usual thing that a course creator would do is collect these case studies as video testimonials or written testimonials, which is great, and they would upload it on their website. However, I think doing a collaboration book with the people who are your success stories is taking it one to the next level, because each of them is going to share their story, their journey, and how your process helped them to achieve whatever they've achieved. So that way, now when you compile this as a book, every chapter is reinforcing how powerful your methodology is or your teaching program is. And as Sunena rightly said, this becomes such a fantastic marketing tool because people value a book much more than a testimonial video, right? So testimonials are great, no doubt about that. But when it comes to a book, it has a longer shelf life. Once it's there, it's always there. So I think there are so many advantages. So now you may be wondering, okay, I get it. I know it's for me, especially if you're a podcaster, or if you have a YouTube channel that has a lot of followers, you can invite anybody in your tribe to be a part of this. But then how do you go about it? How do you execute it? Now, the first thing is you, as a community leader, should decide what the theme of the book should be. Like how we at Happy Self Publishing decided that our first collaboration should be about the decisions people have made. Likewise, you can decide what the theme of your book should be, and then based on that, decide the book's title. And my suggestion is to also make it more real by getting the book's cover done. Even before you go to the publishing stage, at least get the book's cover done, because that can be a great marketing tool for the book. So once you have this in place, then you make the announcement in your community and tell them that, hey, I'm launching this project. This is how the cover looks like. And I would like to recruit people as co-authors for this project. And I think as a community leader, you should also be writing a chapter, because people should know your story and your journey. But in addition to that, you're going to invite other people from your tribe. It could be your membership site, whatever you have to build your community. It could even be a Facebook group. You may have 500 members in the group, but there could be 20 or 30 people who would be interested in or qualified enough to write a chapter for the book. So make that announcement, let people apply, and then have a fee for this, for being a part of this project. Right? Because you want to create a premium book, and that costs money. You want to make it a bestseller, and that will cost money, right? And I'm sure people who are able to see the value in the book will not mind paying and being a part of it. So have your own selection process and let them sign up. And while people are writing the book, you can partner with a publishing agency like ours, who can guide you in every step in the process. You don't have to worry about the cover design. You don't have to worry about the editing. All that can be outsourced to an agency. Your job is to just have those 10 or 20 people become a part of this project. So I think that's the toughest part. Once you bring these people together, then the execution is a lot easier.
And
Anything else that goes in the process? Yeah.
we have done this in the past. Like we have done collaboration books which people bring to us. I mean, like they are the community head. They are the ones who get all the stories together, and they give it to us, and then we turn it into we design a great cover, we do the editing, we put it all together. So
Yeah,
in the same way, you could do this, you could do that as well. And as you said,
exactly.
it's so important to have the cover in place, because that is a great marketing tool to even approach people to contribute a chapter to the book. And that's exactly the method
Yeah,
that we used as well. We had a really attractive cover in place, and then we use that to kind of attract people to contribute a chapter to the book. So that is one thing that you should get
yeah.
going right in the beginning. The title and the cover, these two things should be finalized before you start approaching people.
Absolutely. And I think all of us, if you look at it, Sunena, we all have a good network. It's just that we sometimes do not see the power of the network, and that's why we don't tap into it. Now, this person need not have a big tribe. They may just have an agency like ours, maybe a social media agency, right? Or a copywriting agency or whatever. And they may be running it for 3, 4 years. So obviously they have like a solid set of clients. They can just reach out to their clients to to share their stories in the book. That can be one way of creating it. Or if you're a podcaster and you've done at least 100 episodes, then you can send an email to all those 100 people, send direct messages to all those 100 people, and invite them to be a part of this project. And if you do that, definitely there would be 20 or 30 people who would raise their hand and say that, yes, I'm interested. So what I'm trying to say is they need not be like your community members or your tribe members. They can also be your clients. They can also be the people you've interviewed in the past. They can be anybody. It's just important that there is a common theme that binds these people together so that you can go and reach out to them.
And as you said, it's much easier to get people to write one chapter to a book, because think
Hmm.
about it. It takes, I mean, it's just 2,000 words or 2,500 words, which are so
Yeah,
much easier to write versus 30 or 40,000 words, and getting the whole book down on paper is much harder. So people will
yeah.
not hesitate to contribute a chapter to a book. So it will be easy for you to attract people to be a part of this project.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest advantage, right? Where you can attach your name to a successful project and you don't have to spend 3 months writing it.
Exactly.
And I think the biggest advantage for the community leader or the main author of the book who's putting this book together is the financial advantage. I mean, we cannot deny that. Of course, you're doing it to make an impact. Of course, you're doing it to bring your community together and network with your people. But you should also remember that if done well, then the financial benefits can be huge. First of all, for most of these projects, you would at least charge $1,000 to uh, have people participate in that. So that itself would give you about $20,000 in the front end of the book, even before you start selling the book. But in the back end of the book, apart from the book sales I'm talking about, that's a totally different thing altogether, the royalties that you make. But in the back end of the book, you can actually tie it with your business. So the book can actually be a part of your author funnel. And let's say you want to sell your membership course or you want to sell people to your coaching program, then the people who read your book are going to be super impressed with each of the stories in the chapters. And when you have a good lead magnet or a form inside the book, they're going to fill it out and reach out to you. They're going to figure out more about your work and may want to start working with you or sign up for your course. So if you have a good backend offer like a course or a consulting program or a coaching program or a done for you service, that can actually give you another $50,000 at least in the back end. So it is definitely a profitable project, especially for people who have a business behind this. Any
and
final
I,
thoughts,
and
Sunena?
it, I was just thinking, it doesn't matter what background you belong to. You could be like, say, a dentist. You could do a thing on cosmetic dentistry, and you can have like 20 dentists contributing to your book. It doesn't matter
Yeah,
what industry you belong to. It's This applies to everyone across the board, because
yeah.
everyone has a certain expertise. Everybody has their point of view, and it'll be interesting for people to read. Like, you have a broad subject and you have different points of view, like 15 chapters but 15 people with
Hmm.
different points of view, so it makes it really interesting. It's not limited
Yeah.
to a certain industry, it applies across the board.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you brought this up because a lot of people think that it's only about them, their students or their tribe and their vendors or their clients, but it can also be with the other people who are your uh, peers in your industry, right? You don't have to look at them as competition. You can look at them as collaborators and you can reach out to them to be a part of this project. That way, their audience is going to get to know about you. Your audience is going to get to know about so many other people. For example, if you want to put together a book on energy healing, there are people who do energy healing using different modalities. One could be a Reiki expert, another could be doing theta healing, one could be a tarot card reader, right? One could be an NLP practitioner or a law of attraction expert. So all of them could be doing similar things but in their own unique way, so that way you can reach out to the people in your own network and build this community so that all of you can benefit from the whole project as a whole.
Yeah, it's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I see a lot of people do this in different ways, like an online summit, right? You bring together 20 or 30 people. But when you have to do the same thing with a book, a lot of people feel that, oh my God, that's going to be overwhelming. But I feel that with the right support, it's just as difficult or as easy as putting together an online summit. So when you do an online summit, you list 20 or 30 people, you interview them, and the interviews get added to a website and that gets consumed by people, right? Now, what if you send these interviews to a writer who will not just do a transcription of the interviews, but write it into a beautiful chapter? So each interview can become a chapter, and that way your online summit can be converted into a book. So that could be like a great multi-author collaboration book. So I think
Yeah,
the
that's a really interesting point, Josna.
So there are so many ways that in which this can be done. It's just that we need to think out of the box and see how together as a community you can serve a lot more people. Because as a solo author, you can only touch like X amount of lives. But when 20 more people add their expertise to a project, it can reach like 20x, right? That's what we did when I was a part of the first collaboration book ever that I contributed a chapter to. This was about 5 6 years ago, Sunena. Today also we were talking about this, right? The book is called Write and Grow Rich. 27 of us, I think, contributed 27 chapters. It was headed by this wonderful lady called Alinka, and she made sure that each of us market the book to our own audiences in such a way that by the end of a month, the book hits the USA Today and Wall Street Journal bestseller charts. But that's so powerful, right? And the goal was very clear right from the beginning. We were not doing this for lead generation. We were not doing this for selling something in the back end. That was not the goal. The goal was clearly to have enough sales happening so that the book can qualify itself to one of these bigger charts. So that way you can decide what your goal needs to be for this collaboration book and go ahead with that. So if some ideas come up to your mind right now while you're listening and watching to this, then I suggest that let's schedule a book strategy call. Just head over to happyselfpublishing.com/call and book a time to speak to me. Sunena and I will be super happy to discuss ideas with you and create a proper plan so that in the next 6 months your book can be published. All right. Thank you, Sunena, for joining us today in Ask the
Thank you,
Coaches.
Josna.
See you guys. We'll see you next week again on Thursday with yet another interesting topic. Till then, take care and happy authoring. Bye bye.
Bye.